Get it, son. It feels so much faster when you're just on the passenger seat.
It always does, you know? When it's not your own car, you're riding, you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking
And it sounds so good.
It's got a pretty nice pitch.
All right, fellow cup bangers, how are you? Today is some day in February. I'm not keeping track. 2016. I'm Alejandro. This is my man Gordon, and let's talk about cars, yo. Hit it, Pedro. So on today's episode, I couldn't pass on the opportunity. Gordon came over. We were shooting yesterday the ACR against the 918.
God, that was amazing.
That was a little bit of fun.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So good, so good.
And he brought his fucking awesome LFA. So I said, why not make a video and talk a little bit about the LFA? I've already driven Brian's.
Yeah, which is a pristine example of one.
Shit, that dude's got like 300 miles on that thing. Plastic on it. Amazing. Gordon, on the other hand, he likes to drive his cars. As you can hear, how many miles you got on this thing?
Right now,
40,276 miles.
It's getting up there. Just keep pressing along.
How many miles did it have when you got it?
Just over 7,000. So had it about 9 months now, and driven it a total of 33,000 miles, give or take.
In 9 months, you're right.
9 months.
I mean, you drove it that one time we shot a Hyper 5.
Yep.
You sent the car from New York. Driving it all the way to LA.
That's right. Yep. Just sent it out here, put it on the road, drove it out for Gold Rush when we did that with the Cup guys last year. Got it back. So you know, it's done a few trips, but so far so good.
It is an amazing car, and I was dying because you were showing the valet guy how to move the car. So what do you need to do in order to get the car moving?
So you got to have it in neutral to be able to start it. Then you can push the start button. Then you have to pull this to engage drive. That puts you in automatic mode. Then you need to pull the paddle again to put it in manual, and then twist this for sport mode. So it's kind of like it's like a jet engine firing sequence.
It really is.
And then to get it in reverse, you have to do the same thing. So it's not like your newer Ferraris where you can just go from drive to reverse. You have to go back to neutral and pull this tab that's all the way over here to get it in reverse, and then to go back into drive. So I myself have almost, put it in reverse and then backed up into a car because I thought I had it in drive. I forgot.
I can see how.
You can imagine the hapless valets in this kind of situation.
Oh, hell yeah. I don't know how you trust them.
You know what? It's just a leap of faith. When the cars has been driven as much as this, you just say, fuck it. What are you going to do? It's insured.
That's right. Now, let's talk about what are the specs of the LFA, even though I know them, I'm going to pretend I don't.
Okay, so it's got a 4.8 liter V10, Formula One derived, that they made in Motomachi, Japan. It's about 552 horsepower in the North American spec of the car. The rev limiter is at 9,500 RPMs, which is the highest for any production car that's ever been made in mass production.
Is it really?
It really is, yeah, 9,500. So the 918, to give you an example, which we know is just the king of the hill, is 9,150 for the RPMs.
Yes.
And the Honda S2000 was 9,000. The 458 Speciale also, I think 9,100.
9,100.
So this is getting up there. It really screams.
The more you know. Holy shit.
So, and as you know, this car held the Nürburgring lap record for a while at 7 minutes 14.7 seconds until it got beaten by none other than the 918.
Baby.
So this is, it's a pretty unique vehicle. It's got a carbon fiber monocoque chassis. Most of the bodywork is fiberglass or carbon fiber reinforced plastic.
Yep.
And it's a front mid-engine design, rear-wheel drive, and it weighs 1,400 kilograms wet weight. So that's 3,080 pounds for those of you doing the old math.
I gotta say, that's not bad. That's lighter than the ACR.
Yeah, it's light. I mean, for a car that's kind of a luxury interior. I mean, that's the weird thing about the LFA. It's got this like sort of luxury interior with this rocket ship sports car feel.
I have to say, when I drove it, I remember getting in the car and saying, wow, here we go. I'm gonna drive like I don't know why I thought it was gonna be the same thing as driving a GTR.
Right.
Like, all right, I'm getting in a GTR, here we go. And then you get in the car and you start driving and you start going through the bumps. If you saw the stiffness test.
Right there. We all know about that one.
And you start getting into the bumps and the car is comfortable. It's very livable with, right?
It is absolutely. And then it's got this other side where you just, punch it.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
it's got that Jekyll and Hyde side to it.
Yes, it does. What made you get it? Because I know before you had a Carrera GT and some other stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's just one of these cars. I'm a big believer in the philosophy that the engine makes the car.
Yeah.
And it just has this kind of freak engine that that you hear the sounds. You know what it was? It was the video of Alexis. They put it in a sound lab and they put these champagne glasses.
Oh yeah.
And they, you know, rev the thing up and they're breaking glass. I don't know whether it's actually possible to do it, but I remember when the car came out, it just stuck in my mind. I said, damn, someday, you know what? The right timing, I just want to try out one of those cars.
Yeah.
Not knowing what it's about, and you know, there you had it. This car, in fact, the weird story with this car is it was owned by a lady in Western Pennsylvania. In fact, yep, and she sold it to Manhattan Motor Cars and picked it up, and I just said, gotta give it a try. You know, and I've just been blown away. It's like, it's this weird car you can drive every day. I drive it in New York, I drive it up to Boston, down to Florida, out here.
At the track.
At the track, and you can just rip it around.
The sound, my God.
And it's got this very unique sound profile, you know.
I think, I mean, the Carrera GT, once you're high revved and going and everything, but really, really going, I think sounds a little better than this. But
I think so.
I might like this one just as a whole.
I think that's a very good comparison. You got the Carrera GT up in the rev range, 7,000, 8,000 RPMs, and it's really screaming, especially if you got the straight pipes. But this thing, you know, it's got another 1,100 RPMs over the red line in a Carrera GT.
And it gives you that, like Formula One
It
sound.
really has that. It really has that. And the chassis feels amazing too. You know, it's a car. You can drive it with the throttle. You know, drift it through the corners if you're good, and yet, you know, when you put it in the comfort mode, you just cruise along, and it's like. So do you
it's very chill, yeah, absolutely. Holy crap, what's your favorite thing about it?
I think my favorite thing about the car is probably, you know, the two things. One, in terms of design, people always wonder, what is this weird, like, little nub here? What is this mouse thing? And in fact, there's a total computer control system here with everything that's inside the nav screen. So there are no climate controls out here. There are no nav system controls. It's all done with this kind of wacky computerized mouse thing. And it doesn't make any sense until you're doing a cross-country drive, as I sometimes do, and you're bombing along at 150 miles an hour through Colorado,
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Course,
yeah, exactly. And you know, you can pick up a phone call going 150 miles an hour out in the middle of nowhere. You can do it. So it's just this
easy.
It's a wonderfully thought about thing. And then the other thing I would say for favorite actually I actually love the transmission in this car. You know, there are a lot of people who say, oh, you know, it came out and it had this antiquated system. But when you put it in sport, I think actually for a single clutch gearbox, it's got more sensitivity and analog feel to it than almost anything I've driven. And it responds, in fact, almost like a manual transmission car, depending on whether you click the paddle fast or slow and more gently, and what shift speed you have selected. I can select right here if I want to up the shift speed. I can make it quicker. Or I can make it slower and butterier, depending on how much and pressure I put on it and what mode I'm in and what shift speed I have it dialed to. So it's like this infinitely adjustable thing. It's actually pretty amazing.
I had no idea about that. Fucking Brian never told me that. Brian, LFA collected. Take your fucking plastic off, son.
That's right. Get out there and drive it. Come on, stop being.
I don't think Brian's gonna appreciate this video.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna. I'm only gonna release this part though. Just calling Brian a pussy and all these things. What is the one thing you don't like about this car you would change? If there's one.
Well, the one thing I would change is I'm an old school guy. I love a manual gearbox, and much as I love this transmission, you know, sometimes I just wish it had a traditional H pattern box like the Viper.
I feel like if they gave it to you, they put it like somewhere around here, like in the Carrera GT,
it would just be something else.
Yeah.
And you know, here's a little known fact: the LFAs that they're still racing at the Nürburgring every year actually have an X-Track gearbox in them, which has a clutch pedal.
No shit.
Yes, shit. Yup. So they take out this one that they made for the street.
You want one of those.
Yeah, and you can actually put in a sequential shifter in that where you bang the shifts old style. So all that stuff comes out. So someday, you know, who knows? Maybe when we get to 100,000 miles on this puppy, you know, knock on wood, if we get there, we'll have the only LFA on the street in the world with some kind of manual gearbox setup, and I think that would be ultimately
incredible. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
That would be it. And maybe other wish list, a slightly bigger fuel tank. That's a small minor thing, but
that's a big problem in most of these cars.
yeah, you burn through it so fast.
You really do. How many of these were made?
So they made 500 of these cars, about 125 for the U.S. so far as I understand.
Okay.
This is production number 209.
Okay.
And the last 50 that they made were obviously the super cool, super rare, and now super collectible Nürburgring edition with the fixed rear wing and the dive planes and the extra 10 horsepower.
Those are those. Yeah. I got you.
That's a whole other beast. But you know, it's pretty limited. I mean, 500 cars. If you think about it, they made about 1,400 Carrera GTs, and that's kind of a benchmark comparison for this car. So, you know, and they made 500 LaFerraris. So in terms of rarity, that kind of says
up there.
it. Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there. Honestly,
sure.
I never see one driving here. Never in LA. I've seen one driving, and it might have been Brian. Now that I think about it, before I met him, it might have been Brian. That one time he drove his fucking car.
Yeah.
So.
Play a symphony with the motor. It's like a musical instrument.
You don't need to listen to the radio with this thing, dude.
And it was tuned by Yamaha for sound. You know, so what's unique about this car is they actually have ducts that pipe the sound from the engine bay into the cabin. Little known fact.
That's brilliant.
Yep. So
brilliant.
So they really did want to give it that uniqueness. And of course, you know, they made this thing this standalone manufacturing plant. Toyota did just for the car, cost them a couple $1 billion to rig the whole thing up, so obviously they didn't get their money out of it, but there you have it. It's kind of that unique, funky Japanese piece of engineering that, who knows, someday maybe it'll be something collectors are interested in, but for now it's, you know, it's kind of unique in the world of automobilia.
Oh dude, come on. You know this thing's going to be a collector's car like in a few years. It's when people can't have it anymore. That's when they want it the most.
That's it, exactly. That's it. So you got to give it time. I mean, this is a 2012 car, and we're now almost 5 years out from the production date. So it's aging okay. You know.
It is, and it's one of those designs that's kind of timeless. It doesn't look old at all.
Not to plug Cup Gang members, but gotta say, Sticker City, for what it's worth, they really have transformed the car. So
are we talking about Sticker City? Fuck those guys.
Oh yeah, fuck them. I'm giving them a bad review on customer service. Goddamn Persians. Nah, I don't mean that. Shit, my girlfriend's a Persian.
No, Dean, honestly, Sticker City did a hell of a job with your clear bra because the car is black, right?
Yeah, it
originally,
is black.
Yeah, the glossy black, so he made it matte and with all the gold accents to match the brake pad.
It's a pretty cool look, and the brake pads are just a freak thing. I mean, I'm not sure how many other LFAs were spec'd with gold brake pads, but I guess this one was just destined to get that Sticker City treatment.
It was bound to get the Sticker City treatment with the gold. Touche.
now with the tints on it, you might think that, you know, there's the kind of Persian Mafia flavor to it, but you know, I support that, you know, as an honorary.
What's going to replace this, you think, or you have nothing in mind?
You know, I'm really looking forward to the Cup Gang rally that I think maybe we're going to have happen on some other part of the world, because I've got something a little special cooked up for that.
Do you really?
Yeah, picked up a Roof CTR3.
Oh, shut the fuck up! You got it?
Yeah, dude. So that's waiting over in Europe for us, bro. So I think we're gonna have a good time with that piece of machinery.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay. I'll be fine.
I'll
be fine. I'm not gonna get excited.
Right. So we'll see. You know, that's yet another one of those oddball machines. But drove that one on the Autobahn about a month and a half ago, and where it's legal to go over 300 kilometers an hour.
That's where you want to drive it.
That's where you want to drive it. Yeah. And I gotta say, that was both a frightening and exhilarating experience.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
To another one of those.
Yep. Absolutely.
Will do. Well, thank you so much for watching, Cup Bangers. What is the one thing about the Lexus LFA that would make you get one? And what's the one that you wouldn't like or don't like about the car? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've been playing with the idea of getting one of these because of the sound, honestly, all alone.
Yeah, it's got that uniqueness to it. Let's get that feedback. Let's see what they think.
Let's see what you guys think.
Nay. Come on, tell us, guys.
Hit it. Have a good one. We're out of here. Cup Gang, bitches!
Peace, yo.
Did that work?